And although I connected with the priest in Juneau at the very small parish, I connected with him via email, and at the time was more invested in the church that I was going to, this Evangelical Church, and was like a sort of youth pastor, basically. Uh, and when you are doing that, you can't exactly skip a Sunday morning to go to the local Russian Orthodox church without some people asking questions or talking about you, at the very least. Um, and so I never went because just for things going on in my personal life, it really wasn't an option that I felt was like frankly safe for my environment. It would have been I would have had a lot of pushback. I'll put it that way for doing that, and so it just stayed via email. And then I moved to Anchorage in I think like August of 2024. Um, and all of a sudden I was free from all these expectations. And although I pretty quickly got plugged into the evangelical like campus group that we had, I pretty quickly also started going to the cathedral on Sundays. Uh, and throughout this whole time, the only thing really Orthodox I was doing was the Jesus prayer because he'd given me those prayer beads. I was reading, but that doesn't really count. Um, I had the Jesus prayer and I had a couple icons, and it was still all very confusing. I was very bogged down, and I knew I am not going to convert to this by argument alone. It can't be, because then I'll just hear another argument and leave. Um, it has to be a deeper reality. It has to be a deeper epistemological experience. Um, and I quickly, once I started really investing effort, I guess you could say, into praying the Jesus prayer as the best as I can without not all knowing what I'm doing, having no real virtue. I the All I can say is that the grace that I experienced from it did not it made it much harder to remain in the evangelical world that I did, because the sort of person that people expected of me, the sort of things that I was encouraged to do, were not aligning with that prayer. Um, and it's not that anyone was like doing anything wrong or scandalizing me or asking me to do anything horrible. It was small things. It was like the the expectation to take on uh, evangelizing efforts and be a person of authority just because I've read the Bible, just because I can quote it a little better than some people. I'm expected to be basically a church leader is
Hmm.
like what it was. And I started to see myself probably for the first time through the prayer, and realized that if I stay here, that is fueling my passions. It's fueling my passions to be congratulated all the time. It's fueling my passions to be seen as uh, wise without any real wisdom. Um, and eventually, it got to the point where I realized I at the time could care less, honestly, about arguments for the apostolic succession of the Orthodox Church, whether or not this or that had changed, this or that. And at the time, I hadn't read Thinking Orthodox by Dr. Jeannie Constantino, which is probably a good thing because then I would have started arguing with people. Um, but I met with Father Vasily, my priest, and for the first time, I had a sit down conversation with the priest since like 2 years prior, however long it was. And I asked him, if I become Orthodox, do I have to defend the faith? Do I have to basically be an apologist and explain my reason? Because I really don't have one. I have so many reasons, and at the same time, they feel like completely irrelevant to why I'm converting. And he said, like, no, basically, please don't, but just be here, just experience the services. And it's not that I had to set aside my rationale. I didn't have to set aside anything. I just had to be there. If anything, I feel like my use of reason, my use of logic, has its place better as I experience the church more. It's like its hierarchy is fit into my world in a healthier place, where it's not my only form of knowledge, but that I have true faith, not faith of like, um, it's like, but when I was a kid, faith was kind of explained as though you have to just be emotionally convinced, or be like rationally convinced, and then have these emotions from these presuppositions about salvation. But my experience in the church has just been just to be there, really. It's enough to experience the church and not have to force anything.
Mm.
um and
Come and
experiencing
see.
true peace. Yeah, come and see. Experience, and also having hierarchy, like legitimate hierarchy with priests and bishops, is very wonderful, because I don't have to search the scriptures like a maniac trying to figure everything out. Like, I can just accept the fact that they know so much more than me, not just because they're more accredited, but because they're humbler, they're holier than me. And it's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And that reality is the most freeing thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to start the faith. The faith has been handed down.
You have to start from
It's
scratch.
terrifying. It's terrifying to have to start. Yeah.